On April 3, 2026, a US F-15E Strike Eagle was shot down over Iran, the first American fighter jet lost inside Iranian territory since Operation Epic Fury began. Iran's IRGC immediately claimed it had downed an F-35, one of the most advanced stealth aircraft ever built. But debris B photographs told a different story. The tailfin markings confirmed the aircraft belonged to the 494th Fighter Squadron based at RAF Lakenheath, UK, an F-15E Strike Eagle, not an F-35. One crew member was rescued. The second remained missing. What followed was not simply a search and rescue operation. It became a geopolitical crisis involving Iran, Israel, and the United States, with a single captured pilot at the center of it all. What actually happened? The shootdown. The F-15E Strike Eagle is a two-seat aircraft, crewed by a pilot and a Weapons Systems Officer (WSO). It was shot down over Kohgiluya and Boyar Ahmad province in southwestern Iran. The IRGC initially claimed the aircraft was an F-35 struck by a new advanced air defense system operated by its aerospace force over central Iran. The spokesperson for the central headquarters of Qatar Malambia stated the jet belonged to the Lakenheath Squadron and was completely destroyed upon impact. Aviation experts immediately challenged that claim. Images from the crash site clearly showed debris belonging to an F-15E, not an F-35. The tail fins still carried the US Air Force in Europe badge and a red tail flash belonging to the 494th Fighter Squadron. The 494th Expeditionary Fighter Squadron had deployed to Muwafaq Salti Air Base, Jordan in January 2026. CENTCOM did not immediately confirm or deny the shootdown. This was the fourth F-15E lost by the US Air Force since Operation Epic Fury began. 3 previous F-15Es had already been destroyed in a friendly fire incident on March 2, 2026, shot down by a Kuwaiti air defense system. The pilot's fate, ejection, capture, and confusion. The fate of the 2 crew members immediately became the most urgent question. A Revolutionary Guard social media account posted a photograph of an ACS-2 ejection seat in a desert landscape. Aviation expert Justin Bronk of the Royal United Services Institute, RUSI, stated, if genuine, it would suggest that at least one of the 2 aircrew did eject safely. A Tasnim news agency correspondent in the province reported that the pilot ejected after the aircraft was destroyed and landed inside Iranian territory. Local civilians spotted him, detained him, and alerted authorities. The Basij, a civilian paramilitary group operating under the IRGC, made the initial arrest before handing the pilot over to the IRGC itself. Iranian accounts then contradicted each other. The IRGC spokesperson for Qatar Malambia stated, due to the severe explosion of the fighter jet upon impact and fall, it is unlikely that the pilot ejected. Yet Tasnim news agency later reported the pilot had been taken into custody. Iran state television broadcast the following announcement to the public. If you capture the enemy pilot or pilots alive and hand them over to the police, you will receive a precious prize. An Iranian businessman separately offered a reward of $60,000 for capturing crew members alive. By the end of Friday, 1 crew member had been confirmed rescued by US forces. The second remained missing. The US rescue mission and its limits. US President Donald Trump was briefed on the loss. White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt confirmed he had been informed but offered no additional details. When asked whether the incident would affect negotiations with Iran, Trump told NBC News, "No, not at all. No, it's war. We're in war." US forces deployed an HC-130J Combat King II, HH-60 Pavehawk helicopters, Black Hawk helicopters, and reconnaissance drones to locate the crew. Footage confirmed US aircraft flying near Behbahan in Khuzestan province, approximately 30 miles from the Gulf Coast. A US military Black Hawk helicopter on the search mission was reportedly shot down by Iranian air defense over neighboring Iraqi territory. Fighter pilots carry GPS-linked emergency devices that transmit their location after ejection. However, US forces appeared to lack the pilot's exact coordinates and were relying on alternative search methods. Israel suspended airstrikes in areas relevant to the rescue operation, per an Israeli official cited by AP. The strategic value of a live prisoner. A captured American pilot is not simply a person in distress. He is a strategic asset of the highest order. The pilot is likely being held at the Qatam Al-Anbiya Center, the IRGC's central military headquarters. The physical reality of ejection is severe. The ejection seat shock causes serious spinal stress, and pilots typically experience days of pain. More significantly, a pilot whose aircraft has been shot down is permanently grounded from combat flying. This pilot will never fly a combat aircraft again, even if returned safely. His return will not be unconditional. It will follow a structured give-and-take framework. Israel currently holds many prisoners facing execution. US red lists and dead lists contain names that could be negotiated. Any return is likely to happen only at war's end, and only if the pilot remains alive and unharmed. As long as he remains in Iranian custody, the building housing him effectively becomes a no-strike zone for the United States. The false flag danger, Israel's incentive. The greatest threat to this pilot's life does not come from Iran. It comes from Israel. Israel's strategic interest in this conflict is clear: keep the war escalating, maintain US pressure on Iran, and continue receiving weapons and military support. A false flag operation targeting the pilot, designed to make it appear Iran killed him, would inflame American public opinion, force the US to escalate strikes, derail ongoing negotiations being conducted through Pakistan and China, and directly undermine Trump's stated timeline of ending the war within 2 to 3 weeks. Iran's interest is the exact opposite. A live, healthy, and publicly visible pilot is Iran's most powerful negotiating card. The IRGC must protect this pilot more carefully than its own personnel, because his death, regardless of who causes it, will be blamed on Iran. Every hour he remains alive and unharmed strengthens Iran's position at the negotiating table. American air power under pressure. The broader military picture is damaging for Washington. The IRGC claimed it had already downed more than 125 US-Israeli drones. The total cost of US lost and damaged aircraft since the start of Operation Epic Fury has been estimated at more than $3 billion by specialist outlet Air Force Technology. An F-15E delivered in the late 1990s cost $31 million. Newer models cost closer to $100 million. 16 uncrewed Reaper drones were also lost. 2 US aircraft carriers were referenced as damaged or out of service, one reportedly in critical condition. Just days before the shootdown on Wednesday, Trump had declared, "We have all the cards." They have none. Iranian Parliament Speaker Mohammad Bagher Ghalibaf responded on social media. After defeating Iran 37 times in a row, this brilliant no-strategy war they started has now been downgraded from regime change to, "Hey, can anyone find our pilots? Please." The diplomatic context, negotiations, and the pilot's role. Iran rejected a US proposal for a 48-hour ceasefire, per Fars news agency. Negotiations were continuing through Pakistan and China as back channels. Trump repeatedly stated the war would end within 2 to 3 weeks. The US told Israel it did not want Iran's new supreme leader Mojtaba Khamenei killed, wanting a senior political figure available to negotiate a peace agreement. More than 100 international law experts signed a joint statement on just security warning that US conduct raised serious concerns about violations of international human rights law and international humanitarian law, including potential war crimes. The captured pilot now sits at the center of all these negotiations, his fate tied directly to how and when this war ends. The Iran-Israel-US triangle, who benefits from what? Iran benefits from a live pilot, a no-strike zone, negotiating leverage, and concrete proof that US stealth technology is not invincible. The US benefits from recovering the pilot quietly, avoiding public humiliation, and keeping negotiations alive. Israel benefits from continued escalation, continued US military engagement, and preventing a ceasefire that leaves Iran intact.